Welcome back to Star Citizen News in 07 minutes or less. If you ever want to skip this intro, just use the chapters below. And you could even use them to skip to the bloopers so you could just see how many times I failed to do that intro. It might astonish you, but if you know me, probably not. Anyways, today we have a couple of exciting things, but it was mostly a chill week. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. So, what have we got for this week? Well, first off, there is still a free fly event going on. It is happening until Monday, the 28th. Okay, so you got the rest of this weekend to play if you don't have the game. And if you do, you got the rest of the weekend to convince your friends to play. I know that might be kind of impossible. Trust me, I've tried. But you can do it, I believe. Anyways, so also, if you are new or your friends are new, if you use my referral code, it gives me a bonus, and it gives you a bonus, or the new player a bonus, which is pretty cool. This game actually gives you things for referring people. So maybe someday I'll get some stuff. It looks like I think I've got one. I don't know. It's whatever. But more importantly, this week in Star Citizen, they, gave us a few little updates, but this pretty much highlights what we're going to be talking about. So there's a roadmap roundup. There was a Star Citizen live on their YouTube channel. They are sending out a newsletter later today on Friday, of course. And then if we have enough time at the end, we're going to talk about the newsletter from last week. So yeah, first off, in the roadmap roundup, let's scroll down a little bit for you guys. So basically the space combat missions are committed, right? So they're coming, right? They're committed to coming, right? They're not released, right? Like the new hairstyles we talked about last week are released, and maybe we're gonna get some more hairstyles. So that's great. But yeah, patrol missions, ambush missions, the UEE training missions for combat, for people that are new to the game, basically, they are committed to making those come out. All right. Then they did the live Q&A, which was like an hour long, but it was good. I enjoyed it. And let's see here. So I've got a few highlights for you guys of what they went over. So basically, new features are going to have to wait until 1.0 comes out. That's their focus, and they're also focusing on stability. One thing I love to hear is that crafting and engineering are some of those priorities. If we get one of those this year, I'm going to be so happy. Anyways, much discussion was about the imprint failure and region crisis for NPCs. It's pretty cool for them to delve into that and kind of how dark the situation really is. Let's see. This was a big one for me. So he goes and talks about patch cadence, right? They're doing the monthly updates, like every 4 weeks. This is new. They have never done so many updates. Well, Invictus is going to cause a 6-week gap for the May patch, which means we're not getting a 4.1.1 soon. It's going to be like another 2.5 weeks, right? So somewhere around May 14th, most likely. And they also confirmed that the Align and Mine event and everything going on around that is permanent. The missions, the story around it might change a little bit, but that's going to remain, which is really cool in my opinion. So Fight for Pyro is coming back with Invictus. That's kind of exciting. I hope that brings some more like account-bound permanent rewards. I really like those. And then there's a new faction called Foxwell, and they're introduced in Stanton, but they're going to be across multiple star systems, right? The purpose of them is to solve the major landing zone reputation issues, where like if you pissed off Crusader Industries, you couldn't land there. They'd shoot you. Well, with Foxwell being in charge of all the other stuff, you should just like always be able to land there, I suppose, even if you're a criminal. A little weird to me. I feel like they need to go into that a little bit more. Anyways, so they're also pushing to get audio logs by the end of the year. Audio logs being things that you don't have to read, right? So instead of picking up something and reading it yourself, you can just have the audio play for you. And that would be a huge feature, especially for someone like me who has dyslexia and is trying to do a new show and is trying to read his notes. I don't like reading. It's challenging. So yeah, please bring the audio logs. Anyways, the funniest bit was that Jared made an enemy in the chat during the show because they did it live. And so someday he's going to go and melt one of that guy's ships, and the guy's going to think it was a bug, but it was definitely Jared. He committed to this. Okay. And then let's see, next week they're going to do a behind the ships episode and give us an early reveal of this year's new Invictus ship. Okay. And so of course Invictus is coming up next week, or not next week, sorry, middle of May. Anyway, so then we move on to the patch notes. Let's see here. So just a little disclaimer, any bugs fixed aren't necessarily persistent universe bug fixes. Most of these I think are actually PTU fixes, and maybe some of those bugs exist in the PU, maybe they don't. All right. So 4.1.1 was released for Wave 2 earlier this week, and now Wave 4. So a lot of people can play the PTU. And there were many Redeemer bug fixes. There were the ship battle and handyman missions are now online. That's like their focus for testing right now. And let's see, there was a potential fix, this one's kind of big, for cargo disappearing when you retrieve your ship. Apparently that was occurring when it would be auto stored because you left the game or the hangar. So hopefully they actually fix that. Let's see, there's going to be some new Cambrio light salvage canisters that are full, or they're just full sized, being sold at some pyro outposts. They nerfed the ambush missions because they had an Idris for you to fight in an ambush, which kind of insane. So now that's going to be a Polaris, and that was just the high level missions. Also, the Polaris got nerfed, right? So there was a flight tuning. So now you're going to have a greater sense of size and mass when you're moving it, right? And so it'll be slower, and they also disabled proximity assist by default. All right, lastly, we might have time for it. They had, in the last week's newsletter, a few community things, right? So you should have had an email to watch this, but there's this really cool community cinematic called I Feel Lost. Definitely check it out. They gave a shout out to the anti-gravity racing scene, who I want to check out because I love racing. And there's 26 Bar Citizens coming up. So check those out if they're near you. No, we ran out of time. Last thing is a new sneak peek at this new armor, which does look pretty cool. It's interesting. Why is there a big chest thing going on here? Like, what does that mean? Is it a jetpack? I don't know. Maybe it's for flying around space faster. That would be really cool. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. My name is Boardaman. Like, subscribe, follow me on Twitch if you want to catch me live, ask questions, whatever you want to do. Hope y'all are enjoying the show. And yeah, until next time, see ya. All right, welcome back to Star Citizen 07 News. Wait a second. Oh God, let's do this again. Start over. Okay, welcome back to Star Citizen. Wait, okay. If you ever want to skip this intro, just use the chapters below, because I'm not going to get this right. Welcome back to Star Citizen News. Welcome back to Star Citizen News in 07 minutes or less. That's right. We finally got it. Don't forget, you can always skip these chapters, or skip the intro with the chapters down below. And yeah, then you can just skip all this nonsense and get straight to the good stuff. Anyways, don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And yeah, so just like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And we're going to start over. We're going to save this. We might use some of this, but you know, we're just going to start over. Maybe these will be the bloopers.